From the EOS model, what we know is that the first key component in the model is to have a strong and clear vision. Now, once the leadership team really masters this strong and clear vision and rolls it out to the company the first time, thereafter, we want to roll that vision out, reiterate that vision, resell the vision to the company once every 90 days. This is how we get your vision shared by all. One of the major tools that we use in EOS to get this vision shared by all is the State of the Company Quarterly Address. Now, you don't have to call it the State of the Company Quarterly Address. You can give it a really super fun name if you'd like. In fact, I would highly suggest that. Do that for something that matches the culture of your company. But I'm going to talk a little bit today about how to make those State of the Company addresses really brilliant. I've really been loving that word lately, brilliant. So the first thing we'll talk about is the agenda. And the agenda is a very loose agenda. I'm only going to give you 3 rules for this State of the Company, and that is right there in the agenda. From here, you can expand, and we'll talk about that in some best practices. But the first item on your agenda is where we've been. Where we've been. Talk about some history of the company, and really mostly in the last 90 days. Talk about lessons learned. Share with the company how we're doing on our revenue, how we're doing on our profit goals. Share with them some really cool stories that happened in the last 90 days, but give them context for where we've been. And here's a key, a best practice for this part of the agenda: be very positive. Now, if you've had a horrible quarter, there are still some cool things that have happened in that quarter. Lead the meeting with some positivity. Please don't sugarcoat it. You can talk about the things where we failed or where we learned also, but lead with positivity. There's some really good brain science that says that's a really great way to start. Your next agenda item is where we've been, where we are. This is where you're going to talk about the present day and the next 90 days. So where we've been is maybe the last 90 days, and really forever. You can do that. But where we are, it's this 90 days. What's going on right now? What are we working on in the next 90 days? So sharing ideas, or not ideas, but sharing what the leadership team has decided on as Company Rocks, really great idea. Reminding them of the one-year plan and those Company Rocks that are feeding that one-year plan, really great idea. Any new contracts that we're signing, new customers we're bringing on, really great ideas for that where we are section. The last section, I bet you can tell what it's going to be. It is where we're going. Now, this is where you get to resell that big, hairy, audacious goal, that big, wonderful 10-year target, 5-year target, whatever it is for you. It's where you get to resell and get everybody super excited about where the company is going. So agenda items: where we've been, where we are, where we're going. Now everybody knows that. Now I'm going to give you some best practices. I adapted this from some coaching that I received from Shannon Waller. It was so simple and perfect that I decided to adapt it here for best practices for a State of the Company quarterly address. So the first thing that you want to do here for best practices, and look, it's a really great idea to have your notes with you too. There you go, bonus tool, use your notes. The first thing that she taught me is hold the room. Hold the room. So let's first of all talk about the space. Where are you going to have this? Make sure there's enough room for people to move. If you're having this in a deep, dark cellar, that's really a hard environment for you to get people fired up around. Some of my clients like to rent places. One of them rented a movie theater to do their State of the Company address. One of them went to a brewery. It doesn't have to be elaborate, but really think about the room that you're setting up and prepare it. Get it excited, or get it prepared to get your people excited. Put some signs up, put some welcome directions, but really include the space in your planning. Here's another way to really hold the room. As people walk into the room, as you're team members walk into the room, be ready to greet them. The last thing you want to be doing in getting ready, prepared for your state of the company address, is to be running around shuffling papers, handing things out, looking all harried and crazy. Get there early. When I have a session, I get here 40 minutes before my clients show up, and everything is already done for me. But I love to just welcome people into the room. So you can do the same thing. Hold the room, welcome people before you start. Use eye contact. This helps you hold the room. Use eye contact. Use people's names. These are all really great best practices for your State of the Company quarterly address. Number 2, know your stuff. You are the expert in the room. And when I say you, it doesn't need to just be the visionary. It can be everyone from the leadership team. In fact, what I hear from my clients is most State of the Company quarterly addresses go off much better if they're hearing from a variety of different people in a variety of different ways. So know your stuff, and it doesn't have to be just your stuff. You really want to have a variety of people and different types of media to teach your people. So when knowing your stuff, preparing quality materials is a really great best practice. If you want to have your State of the Company quarterly address a summary, you can do that. Put your logo on it. If you have a vision traction organizer, which I hope you do, put your logo on it. Make it in color. Do all kinds of really cool things to have some quality materials. One of the companies that I work with, they have something for the State of the Company quarterly address every time. One time there was a hockey puck. Happen to love hockey. One time there was a little squishy animal of a monkey to help drive home a point. So go ahead and prepare really quality materials. Next thing to know your stuff, practice. Practice what you're going to say. One of my coaches, Steve Chandler, who told a story one day where he had been hired to help somebody prepare a presentation. Every time she did this presentation, she got super nervous and she forgot her lines. And the only thing he did to coach her was have her do this over and over and over and over and over again until she just got fluent. So practice. Feel free to practice in front of the mirror. Practice during one of your level 10 meetings, but practice. And then the last thing here, a little bit along with practice, but feel free to role play. Sometimes when leaders go into their State of the Company quarterly address, they don't know what kind of questions they're going to receive from their team members, and they get a little bit nervous about that. So maybe during one of your level 10 meetings, have your leadership team pepper you or pepper each other with questions you might hear from your team and role play how you would answer those questions, of course, in an open and honest way. So know your stuff. The third one here, excuse me, own their result. Own their result? Yes. It's not own your result, it's own their result. So similar to holding the room, you are going to do things that will help this message that you're sharing in the agenda stick. You want to own the results of the people in the room. You're going to set them up in the very best way so that they can retain what they just participated in. So here's a couple of ways that you can help them own their result. Number 1, get them active. People who are just sitting still for a long time, 90 minutes, 60 minutes, they're going to disengage. We know that about the human body. So if you get the human body moving, then they will be engaged a little bit more. That's one way you can help own their result. The next one here, have them write. So you guys know me, most of you are my clients. We write in that nice thick orange binder, but we do it on purpose. We don't do it just because I hate technology. I love technology. I'm using technology right now. We do that because whenever we hear something, think about it and write it down, it sticks. So maybe you could consider handing out a blank vision traction organizer and having them fill it in as you go. It's a way to really, you setting them up to own their results. So have them do some writing. Next one here is have them share. So you could be talking maybe about the passion that's in your core focus. And you could do something like, hey, everybody, turn to your neighbor and share with them where you have seen us or where you have felt us living our passion this last quarter. Just having them share for 1 or 2 minutes just gets them engaged, gets them excited. They're going to have much better results. And then finally, have a next step for them. And their next step could be as simple as, so be thinking about the rocks that you're going to set next week with your manager. Their next step could be maybe giving everybody a challenge to up the goal on their scorecard numbers, but some kind of next step that you want them to have. That helps you help them own their results as well. And here's the fourth one that's not on there. It's a little bit silly, but it works all the time to just take meetings from like a 9.5 to a 10. Have food. People love food. All right, hope that helps, and I'll see you next time.